Good evening. Welcome to the 5-8, where we discuss each of the week's 5 most fucked up topics for 8 minutes. 5 topics, 8 minutes, 2 hosts, a guest, some singing, a lot of curse words, and as many cocktails as we deem necessary. LB, how are you?
I'm well. I'm having tea. What are you having? You having your usual?
I am having a Manhattan. I had to go get more supplies today.
Oh, okay.
You know, the guy said, "Oh, it looks like your Manhattan is in your future." And I said, "You are correct, sir." Yeah. So, I don't know. It's a quiet news week. It's going to be difficult
Yeah,
to conjure up what we can discuss here tonight. I don't know.
I don't
Um,
know.
I
What?
do know one thing that I wanted to surprise you with this.
Oh,
We have a sponsor. We have a
oh,
sponsor.
oh.
Yeah. Um, the show is sponsored. The 5-8 is sponsored by the letter X
Oh,
and the number 364 million. I don't know
oh,
why that number.
I don't
It feels like it's a number that I don't know. This it's kind of random number. I don't know what
It's
it means
it's
exactly,
a
but
powerful number. It's a
yeah,
powerful number. And
it's
if there's interest on that number, I think it goes up to like 465 or 53, something like that.
yeah
Yeah,
with the interest, you know.
with the interest.
So that's $1 million a day
Oh,
minus Christmas, and you know, because we have to, you know, the war on Christmas or something. And yeah, with the interest and everything else, like, is he worth this much money? Like, it feels like no. I don't know.
Mm.
Didn't he owe Deutsche Bank like $300 million at one
He
point?
did, and that somehow vanished. I do
Mm.
think he delivered some special goodies apparently, and Jared got a little return. So maybe Jared can spare, that's like what 25% of what Jared was able to grab from the bone saw guy.
No, to be fair, Jared's
Oh.
only managing the $2 billion. He only makes
Oh.
$28 million a year. So,
Oh, okay.
which
All
is
right.
basically what a mid-range small forward makes in the NBA. So it's not, you know,
Okay. All right.
only 28
God,
million.
we all should be playing for the NBA
Yeah,
if those are the
which
real
is
numbers.
yeah.
All right. Well, what do you say we just jump into it? Because I want to get to our guest.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
keep
keep
him
him
waiting too long, and I want him to be able to weigh in on also when we get to him because he's so amazing on these first two things we're going to talk about here real quick. Timer is on.
Timers on.
Yeah. So the big news today.
Yeah, Navalny is dead. We
Oh,
think, as far as we know. Um,
I think it's
so
pretty confirmed. Yeah.
yeah, and this was, you know, even he knew this was coming, and made a video to, you know, express to be played in the event of his death. Um, my question is about the timing, because this guy, he's Putin's rival. He's a political prisoner. He's in Siberia. We say idiom, you know, the idiom for when you're far away and way off the beaten path is you're in Siberia. Navalny was literally in Siberia,
Mhm.
and yet Putin felt the need to kill him this week, the same week that the Tucker Carlson interview dropped, the same week that Trump was railing against NATO. Um, I don't know, the same week that Trump's financial thing came out, which I'm sure that they knew was happening. Is there any connection? I mean, what do you think?
Who can know? But I do think that the there does seem to be a full court press. It's sort of like in this, we're coming up onto the election is this year, and I feel like there's an acceleration to all right, let's get it all out there and let's get our stuff going. I think I also feel like I instantly was thinking, first of all, it's just so horrible. I so sad that this man is dead. This is horrible.
Yeah,
I'm so sad for his wife and his family and his friends and everyone, you know, that was doing their best to keep him alive under these impossible circumstances and criminal circumstances in terms of crimes against him, the worst crimes against him. Uh, and I don't believe any of the who goes for a walk in Siberia in February? This is not all of it is bullshit. So, in terms of the story coming out of Russia, and I the boldness of doing it when all of the leaders are together right now with Zelensky says to me that it's almost like Putin is doing his troll thing that is
Mm,
I do anyway of like, yeah, let's see your red line. Obama had his red line, he didn't do shit. So let's see you. You said if I did this, I was going to be big consequences. It's almost like that. Come. Let me see what you got. Because if you're not going to act on me with this, then I fucking win it all. I got it all. It's all like he used a man's life in this way to just, you know, do his 4chan shit with, in real life with Biden and NATO. I kept thinking about how Trump not long ago was sort of paving the way for his base for him to say, if I want to kill my political opponents, I have total immunity to do that, and it's within my right. Maybe I will. That's what I was hearing ringing in my ears of like, oh, he paved the road for that. He made this, so if there was anything to sort of indicate to me that there was any awareness or anyone knew this was coming, I feel like that is closer than hitting out at NATO and saying they owe some money from the guy who we now know owes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of
it's a lot of
dollars
money.
to
Yeah.
people, as well as all he's ever done is rack up debt and owe people and not pay his bills his entire life. So all of that, I want someone to add up all that debt. That's what I want. Add up all of Trump's debt. That's how I feel about the NATO thing. The Navalny thing, I think Putin is an absolute terrorist on top
Yeah.
of everything else. And he's just got to go. And I don't understand. I don't
Yeah.
get it. I don't
Yeah.
get how he's still in power. I don't. And I think all those oligarchs, all their stuff was seized, but it's still sitting there. It hasn't been distributed to Ukraine. I think there's a great hope amongst these criminals, Putin's mobsters, that mob oligarchs, that they're all that needs to happen is shit needs to clear out one way or another, and then they'll get their funds back. Um, and I think that what should happen with after this Navalny death, I think Joe Biden and all the leaders there should just say, "Here you go, Zelensky. Take all this money,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let Putin's people know it's not when we take it. You're not getting it back. We're not holding it in escrow for you and letting it earn interest. That's not what's happening." So I have a lot of thoughts on all that. I'm just sad. I'm really, really, really sad that man is gone. I think it's terrible.
It is terrible. I mean, the one thing he said that resonates is that in the video that he made in the event of his death is that if he is killed by Putin, it means that we are strong and Putin is weak. And I think that's true. I think that if
Yeah.
you're so insecure, I watched that interview with Tucker. You can tell, you don't even have to have the sound on. You can tell by looking at him and how he reacts to Tucker when he's in a momentary moment when he feels uncomfortable, how angry he gets on his face and everything. He's a thin-skinned guy.
Yeah, he's a
He,
troll.
he's a weakling.
He's a
And the
tiny
fact that,
little this big.
yeah, the fact that
He's
he felt the
small.
need to do this, I mean, yes, all of what you said, I agree with, the trolling, this and that, but it's also a show of weakness. It is.
Yeah.
It's if you're we said this last week about the woman from China told me this. If you're in a country that allows political opponents to speak, that is a strong country. If you're in a country that feels the need to put them in prison or takes journalists and kidnaps them at a consulate in Istanbul and has them chopped up to bits, you don't. You're living in a dictatorship state by a very thin-skinned dictator, and it
Yeah.
just is a show of weakness. So,
All right. I don't I want to hear what our guest has to say about all this because
yeah, move on.
got some wise words. So we're moving on. We're gonna move on and get to him quickly here. All right. Next, quick, because it's everywhere. If everyone noticed, Greg did locations. So Fulton County, I have just something to say. I hope this all works out. I get what's happening here. I understand how egregious this is in terms of the actions taken by Trump's and all of the defendants' teams of lawyers to come after Fani Willis personally. And I don't know whatever happened to know who you're up against. And I was saying this before in our little pre-meet with our guest, and I've just been thinking about this all day. It's like, what are you doing? Like she brought this huge RICO case, because she knows she's going after mobsters, a gang lord, and his conspirators, and probably the most consequential one we'll ever have. I can't think of a RICO case that was this consequential. I understand the commission trials and all of that, but
it didn't involve the president of the United States.
It didn't involve the future of democracy.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a state case, but again, probably the most consequential state corruption case since the Tammany Hall cases. That's the 30s in New York. I mean, it's huge. They're going to come after you like this. They've got the goods on you. They're paying people off. They're blackmailing people. They're doing dirty shit. They're getting to your shit, and they're going to bring it against you. That's what it means to go up against them. My God, for 100 years, the prosecutors that have gone after organized crime before they even had the term organized crime understood that their lives are at stake if they do it. They're, you know what arena you're in. So you don't, create it's not even like giving them a little, it's like what did I say? It's like she put like a trail of breadcrumbs, but she paved the way. It's like a grocery market conveyor belt line of goodies. Come and get me, come and eat me, to the bad guys. So there's something about the I don't even want to call it naivete. For me, it just feels like there's like an immaturity in here around this love affair that I just like I can't wrap my mind around it. And yes, she's human. They're human beings. Everyone should be allowed to be human. I wish we were in France and this was a non-issue because people were fucking mature out there. But that's not where we are. And I just think it's sort of like it's not like an ego thing. It's something else that's just really bothering me about this. And I'm sorry, it's just setting women back. Just set us all back. And I get that she was on the stand going, I don't need a man to da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, well, but you needed to pay him $600,000 a year and fuck him? I don't get it. I really don't. So I'm so sorry. And I feel icky having to be one of the voices piling on to this woman prosecutor, this district attorney. And I would be completely disingenuous if I didn't say that now. These are evil, horrible people you're up against. Come prepared for the battle you're in. Know the battle you're in, because our lives are at stake. Not just Fulton County. I know it's right. It's bigger than that. And she seems to know that and talks about that from the stand. But the behavior didn't match up to it. So I don't know. That's how I feel. I hope it all becomes a nothing burger. My God, I hope it all becomes a nothing burger.
I hope it all becomes a non-hamburger, which is
a non-hamburger
on this show from now on.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of things. First of all, I think that the entire future of democracy in the United States hinges on when exactly Fani and Wade started dating, which is so
my
stupid.
God, I can't even. It's so stupid. I can't.
Now, just a couple of things that I want to, first of all, I thought about this, like, why is this a big deal? If I found out that it was a MAGA person doing this, would I care? And the answer is, I would not. This really is nothing. But the other piece, okay, even if to me it hinges on, and they know this, when they started dating, because if they were already dating and then she hires him, that's different than if she hires him and then they're just in the workplace and stuff happens, right? It's a different animal. But to your point, this is a dangerous thing. They are up against criminals, and she tried to find another guy that would try the case, and everyone in Georgia was a bunch of cowards and wouldn't do it. And then this guy who was close to her said, I'll do it. If nobody else will do it, I'll do it. So these two people are the only people in that whole fucking state with the courage to do this. And if she happens to be together, I don't care. The other thing is, Fani Willis.
Stop talking. How about that?
Why? Why?
Because
so they should be pent up for the whole time? I don't give a shit. Let them do it. I want them relaxed for this damn thing.
Oh, come on. Listen.
The other piece is, this is the most.
Monks can do this. This is a much more important job than.
This is not a monk. You know, she didn't sign up for. She didn't vow celibacy. Come on. But the more important point is.
Someone else. Come on. Great.
Fani Willis is an elected official. She's the DA of Fulton County. Right. She's not even the Attorney General of Georgia. She's a county official. And that's the person in this country that we have going against these evil forces. Where the fuck is Merrick Garland? Where is he that he would allow this to happen? Why is this not a federal case? Why? He's too busy naming special prosecutors to chase down Hunter Biden. And you know, I don't get it. So here we have the only two people apparently in the country brave enough to do this. And all of their dirty laundry is hung out. If the only dirty laundry that they have is this, I mean, come on, who are we kidding? If they throw this out, oh, this is another thing that because you and I were trying to debating about what happens if she does have to step down. Okay, so case doesn't go away. This is per the New York Times. It goes to the decision that would be made by the executive director of Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, who would then have to name a prosecutor, which ain't going to be easy because, again, they're all a bunch of cowards down there. His name, so he can either reassign it or kill it. He'll probably slow walk it because he's a Republican, although the Democrats say he's kind of one of the good Republicans. His name, and I'm not making this up, is Pete Scandal-Ikis.
I can't.
Scandal. He's got the word scandal right in his name.
We have to move on. We have to move on.
I can't tell you how many times I
can't handle the whole thing. I can't.
I know
it's like I'm gonna stutter. Listen, let's get to our guest. We have a little word from a sponsor.
We do
talk about having a new sponsor.
Yeah, talk about having a new sponsor.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Are you having trouble remembering what you were doing on January 6th? Do you regularly confuse Barack Obama with Joe Biden? Or Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi? Or one of your rape victims with one of your wives? Hi, I'm Ivanka Trump. I used to be forgetful too. I don't think anyone pleaded the fifth more than me. Heck, I was like Clementine from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but taller and with better hair. Then Jared told me to try Nemagamonic, a remarkable new memory aid product. Nemagamonic is a Chinese patented herbal remedy, a proprietary blend of ivermectin, Provigil, orange hair dye, and cordyceps mushrooms harvested from the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Having trouble remembering your passwords? No more. After using Nemagamonic for just 1 week, you'll be able to easily recall PIN codes, Swiss bank account numbers, and word strings like person, woman, man, camera, TV. After just 4 weeks, you'll understand how NATO works. Turn your forget-me-not to forget-me-not with Nemagamonic. Remember, try it, today. And now, back to the show.
Okay.
I got to have that because I keep forgetting things lately.
You can, yeah.
I do. I keep forgetting all the things. Okay, enough of that. Our guest is a national security contributor for MSNBC. He also writes a column there. He's the former assistant director of counterintelligence at the FBI and the author of a new book coming out called Long Haul: Hunting Highway Serial Killers. Frank Figliuzzi.
Hey,
Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for having me.
We're delighted to see you. And we opened up with these two topics that we're eager to get your take on. So start with which either one you want, Fani Willis, or start in Fulton County or Siberia. The choice is up to you.
Right, which increasingly are seeming similar this week. It's been a hell of a news week, right? Let's go with the death of Alexei Navalny, which is tragic but yet predictable at the same time. 47 years old, as you referred to, Greg. He died in a Russian penal colony north of the Arctic Circle. Interestingly, this past week, his mother visited him and found him to be healthy, even cheerful, she said. He also, I think just yesterday, had a court appearance via video where he was cracking jokes with the judge, sarcastically ribbing the judge, and reportedly has recently been telling prison guards in the penal colony to make sure they vote against Putin. All of this could have contributed to, as you described, a kind of a madman, thin-skinned, not being happy that Navalny's able to crack jokes and kind of backstab a judge and tell his prison guards not to vote for Putin. But also, let's not forget, 2020, Putin's operatives tried to poison, unsuccessfully, they did poison him, actually. It just didn't work. And now it's working. It's worked. And President Biden came out today and said he has no doubt that Putin is responsible for Navalny's death, which I found amazingly quick and certainly, I'm sure, accurate, directly or indirectly. He's been denied medical care and all of that since he's been imprisoned. What was he in prison for, you might ask? Well, among other things, quote, creating an extremist community, unquote. Does that sound familiar to you, perhaps domestically? Anyone we know who's creating an extremist community? Well, Tucker Carlson, as you well know, this month interviewed Putin, the first American interview he's granted in 3 years, and it was Tucker. Why? Why now? Tucker praises Putin constantly, and it worked. He let Putin ramble for over 2 hours with maybe 3 interruptions. That was it. None of the hard questions were asked about people falling out of windows, people being imprisoned and poisoned, tens of thousands of civilian deaths, civilian targeting in Ukraine, messing with our election in 2016, and nothing about Navalny and his plight. None of it. None of it. Putin also, of course, heard, as we all heard, Trump in the last couple of weeks in a response to a question about NATO and what he would do with NATO countries who didn't pay their bills. Trump says, I'd encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want. So that's what we're seeing Putin do for whatever host of reasons while this Munich security conference is ongoing and all the leaders are there. And he's saying, I may have appeared a little soft with the Carlson interview because I hinted that maybe I would be open to negotiation. So let me show you how tough I am. I'll kill this guy. As you said, Greg, it's an absolute sign of weakness. He's losing his people. He's lost brothers and fathers and sons and uncles, and they're not liking it very much. He's taken a beating in Ukraine, and it's all worn together. But I'll just say this about what Tucker Carlson did or didn't do with Putin, and what Trump has said. And you treat a stone cold killer like just another head of state or just another candidate for a presidency. You are enabling evil and you are dancing with the devil, which is precisely what Carlson and Trump are doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to your point about Tucker, he's now being blamed by Russian media. Like the crazy Putin media is blaming Tucker for Navalny dying. I think because the propaganda was so ineffective. I think that the purpose of it, as I see it, was to sort of normalize Putin and make him seem like kind of normal to us. And the opposite happened. We see that he's this freaky weirdo. I don't know. Is Tucker home? Is he still in Serbia? Because if I'm Tucker, I'm getting the hell out of Serbia. Seriously, I'm not even joking now. Tucker, come home. Get out of there.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think as recently as today, I saw him being interviewed somewhere in the world, not here, on a stage with somebody clearly with a foreign accent, and it's not here. So I'm not sure he's come home yet.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that stood out for me of what you said, and it reminded me of something my mom even said this morning, of like, there's something about this that from Trump's shout out of like, I think Russia can do whatever the hell they want, right? It's like, and it just reminds me of that. Russia, if you're listening, it was that echo. It just makes me.
I think I'm with you. I think it was a subtle signal to Putin that, hey, you need to help me out like you did last time, and then I'll be your best friend forever. Yeah.
I mean, there's also
so dark. It's
there's
so
also
dark.
It's very dark. There's also the idea that Trump now can cross the Rubicon into violence, and now getting on to Fani Willis. I mean, she's a target. I mean, I've been to Georgia. It's very easy to buy a gun in Georgia if you don't already have one. She's now on the stand. They're asking all this personal information about her. They want to know where she lives. Everybody knows what her dad looks like now. Like, everyone knows she has 15 grand in her house. Like, there's a target on her. There was anyway. How safe is she? Like, what's being done to protect her? I don't know. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Oh my gosh. Well, on the security issue for Fani, and by the way, for you, Jack Smith and the judges involved, my Lord, it's painful. You got a sense from her on the stand about how often she's had to move locations, the degree of doxing and swatting that's going on right now against many people. I will tell you, the public doesn't know half of the swatting targets and incidents that have occurred. It's out of control, and it is organized. It's organized.
Yeah.
So yes, are people threatening to kill her? Yes. And by the way, many others. It's a horrible environment we're in. With regard to both of your comments, first on this really sticky situation, I applaud you for bringing it up. I think there's so much of a tendency on this topic to pick one side and only one side, seemingly, and not really have a healthy, rigorous discussion around it. And in this country right now, we seem unable to think on multiple levels at the same time, at least some folks. And by that, I mean, it's perfectly okay to say, as Stephanie did, I think this was unprofessional. She screwed up. I mean, if you're going to pick a time in your life to screw up, please don't do it while you're saving democracy. Please don't, when it can jeopardize a case. And at the same time, you can say that. And at the same time, you can say, oh, I've researched this, and it's probable that she's not going to get recused per Georgia regulations. And by the way, her personal life in this matter does not change the fact that there's a really solid RICO case in Fulton County, right? But it seems now with our news cycle and with people, the networks battling with each other for audiences, it's either you're for her or you're against her. But you can't have the intelligent discussion and say humans screw up, as Stephanie said, and we wish she hadn't done this, because really dating the guy at work that you're paying 600 grand to, and then going on expensive vacations with him smells badly. But at the same time, I don't think she's going to get recused. And I mean, And I think the case is incredibly solid. So,
Great.
you know, okay to
That's-
think those two things simultaneously.
Simultaneously, and I want to wrap that back around in terms of do it for yourself. Because, you know, look, as someone who studied women prosecutors who took down heads of crime families and crime syndicates back, you know, 80, 90 years ago, there were threats on their lives. Like, and this is why this is so different than the days where, you know, this was even before there was a RICO statute, and certainly before a RICO statute was applied to organized crime, which took all the way to the commission trials for that to happen. These people will kill you. They will kill you. They'll dig up all the dirt they can. They'll slander you. They'll smear you. They've always had media outlets at their disposal. They use that. But now there's an echo chamber. Now there's a stochastic. It's now like, let's just use our echo chamber and sit back and wait for an act of stochastic terrorism. Now there's that tool in the gangster's toolbox in this particular crime family that we're up against and what we're dealing with. So for your own personal safety, look, Elizabeth Freeman, she didn't get on it. She had death threats at her. This is in the 1930s. There was a moment where she didn't get on a plane and that plane went down to kill her.
Oh my God.
So this has always been a high level of threat. Eunice Carter, they were all after her. They were all after her. She couldn't even go, she couldn't travel to Europe ever. The fucking mob was going to kill her over there. So,
yeah,
you know, know what you're fucking up against. Don't do this. There's an echo chamber. They're going to find out. And now the threats on your life are through the roof.
You know, on a much smaller scale, through my former FBI lens, this reminds me a little bit of the Pete Strzok, Lisa Page debacle.
Yeah.
In that if you're going to open a case against involving Russian interference with the president of the United States and the campaign, probably it's not smart in the middle of an extramarital affair to send really damning texts back and forth with your lover that are, of course, discoverable because many of them are on FBI devices, right? So does that mean that the case wasn't validly opened? No, in fact, the Inspector General said it was properly predicated. No. Did it really slam the FBI reputationally? Is it going to haunt Pete Strzok and Lisa Page forever? Yes.
Yeah,
right?
Don't do it to yourself. You know, also, I applaud all of the heroic people we're talking about right now because they are willing, this is their job, and they are willing to take this on. It's really heroic. And because of the country we're in and the time that we're in and the forces that are out there and the state of this nation and the state of democracy, because, you know, you're going up against Donald Trump. There's Saudis, there's China, there's Russia behind that. I don't care if you're just in Fulton County. They're coming for you. So, you know,
we're not perfect. We're all human, like you said.
These are choices, and you are going to have to do an either or in this situation. And we can all bleat about all day long how that's ridiculous and stupid and unfair, and you know, oh my God, because she's a woman, you're doing this. We can do all of it, but that doesn't change the game board that we're on.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, to be clear, is she being targeted in a way that looks misogynistic, racist? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But where'd that come from? Where, you know, it's just a lousy situation.
It's a lousy situation, and I hope that I hope she prevails. I do.
Yes.
I think no matter what, Pete Scandalicus is going to do the right thing. I think we could count on him.
God, I can't believe this.
This is simulation, right? Totally simulation.
Yeah.
Okay, so Frank, you wrote a piece for MSNBC about this Kansas City shooting, which is obviously horrific. I don't even want to get into the horror of it because we all know what the horror of it is.
Yeah.
But your take was from a different frame, talking
Yeah.
about just larger security.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
I'm a security guy. That's what I do for a living. So I've got to look at it through that lens. And what I see now, and what I know law enforcement executives are wrestling with is a question. The question is our current state of gun enforcement and possession in America inconsistent with securing a large-scale, open public event? And sadly, if you really ask the question seriously, the answer is no. No one can any longer guarantee or come close to guaranteeing that there won't be gun violence at an open public event. Short of putting every attendee, maybe a million, the population of Kansas City doubled the day of the parade, put 1 million people through a magnetometer. That's not going to happen. But short of doing that, this is what happens. So I did in my column, MSNBC Daily, I looked at Missouri because that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing this deliberately. Whenever there's a mass shooting and I'm told, hey, Frank, get on the air now, there's a mass shooting. You know what I do? I talk about the state where the mass shooting is because I want to name and shame. And Missouri deserves the naming and the shaming because they've got a governor that when Kansas City and St. Louis, the two largest cities in his state, trying to pass two laws. One that says, hey, if you're 18 or under and you're buying bullets, you need your parents' permission. Make sense to you? Makes sense to me. He said, no, no, no. The other thing is they're trying to ban what's called switch guns, switches. Switches are a device that you use to take an ordinary semi-automatic pistol like a Glock,
Oh my God.
and you make it fully automatic, which means with one press of the trigger, you empty your entire magazine. So that's easily concealable, right? It's a handgun. You can conceal it, and you can do incredible damage by just pulling the trigger once. So the governor said, no, we're not doing anything that's going to infringe on anybody's right to carry anything. He also, just so you know, did pass a law that said the police can't enforce gun laws. It had to go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can't tell the police not to enforce the law. No. So that's what we're dealing with in Missouri. But it's not just Missouri. No permit, no license. That too happened in 2017 in Missouri. But it's everywhere. Texas, everywhere. So
Florida.
That's where we are.
It's horrifying. I know that there's the NRA, and I know that there's the money coming in, and I know that the Russians infiltrated the NRA and all this stuff. But I mean, I just don't understand the mentality of someone in a position of power who would okay something like that. Like it's something that no one wants. Like what percentage of the population even wants that thing you said, the switch Glock, to happen? Like, nobody wants somebody to have that. But yet it's like there's some mandate. It's like the Grover Norquist anti-no race tax pledge or something. These guys try to out 2A each other. I don't know. It just makes sense to me.
Oh, clear. I mean, you talk about what nobody wants, the Glock switch thing. Survey after survey shows that the vast majority of Americans want their gun laws enforced. They
Yes.
do. Interview reasonable gun owners. They'll go, yeah, this is embarrassing. I don't want somebody having a gun who shouldn't have one. It's embarrassing for me as a reasonable gun owner. So it means our politicians are not listening to the constituents. So, you mentioned the word power in one of your last sentence. It is power because they stay in power through money that comes from lobbying groups like the NRA. So why bother listening to your constituents when you can get all this money and keep pumping out commercials that get you elected?
I think there's something beyond the performative nature of it for cash. My dad has written about this. I'm encouraging him to publish. Maybe we'll put it on Prevail, and taken a lot of time with it since my brother's murder. First and foremost, just, there's a mom, there's kids without a mom now, and in Kansas City, and which is my hometown. And it's just, it sounds horrific to say this, and I've said this on this show before, but what happened to her family, what has happened to my family, I'm telling you, it's going to happen to every single one of you. It's just, there's no way. It's, the numbers are the numbers. And either someone in your family, yourself, or someone very, very close to you is going to be a victim of gun violence. That's what's going to happen. And then you'll understand the screaming and how your life is shattered forever, and how absurd it all. It's you go crazy. I think for at least 2 years, I lost my mind. You know, everyone in my family, it's just a whole bucket of that. So, but the thing that my dad's been focusing on right now and writing about right now is idolatry.
Yeah.
And the power of idolatry and what's around all of that, which is beyond just, I'm going to do this performative thing and get money from the IRA. There's sort of two things coming together, where you have this concept of, if folks know, I've written about this, mimetic contagion, where there's a great mimicking that human beings do. We do that. We're part of a species that imitates and learns through imitation. Our brains are geared towards imitation. And that's how you can have something spread, like what happened in Nazi Germany, and just sort of take over people's minds, and they get accustomed to stuff. And it's not the frog cooking in the slow, and you don't know how bad it is, and then you wake up. It's literally this sort of thing that human beings do, where we just sort of mimic other people's behavior. Oh, I see you doing that, and you're getting something out of that. I'm going to do that too. So that's sort of sweeping around. And when the thing that people are doing is actually idol worship, where you take a man-made object, and it can be even the Second Amendment, that's man-made, a man-made thing, and say that it's somehow sacred or holy. Make it sacred, so it can't be touched. We can't regulate this. We can't restrict it. We can't, this is much more sacred than our children. We're a country that puts the gun above our children. We do. And now it's becoming, because of the contagion and this idol worship, it's collapsing into, well, we need to make sure our children have the guns. This is somehow we're loving our children by putting an automatic weapon in their hands and taking a Christmas photo. This is love. That's idolatry. And I don't care where you are on the spiritual realm, or what religion anyone may have or not have. There's very specific, very clear writing about what happens to a society that engages in idol worship. And we are living through it right now. This is what happens.
Yeah, I did not know I was going to get this kind of insight and wisdom on this podcast tonight, although it certainly can happen. It's happened now. This is a fascinating topic. The idea that of the gun as a sacrament, the idea that a physical object made of iron, steel, can be infused with and embody all things we think are good and holy about the nation, our freedoms, all of that in a hunk of metal, is fascinating and likely true. And I'll take it a step further, which is that we've essentially done that to a human being in the sense of idolatry, and that's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the kind of, the crazy portraits and caricatures we see of him either looking like Jesus or being blessed by Jesus, the Bible in his hand, often upside down, that he can't correctly quote from. 2 Corinthians walk into a bar. Yeah. So, that's where we are. I think your father and you seem to have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's even the, in an idea, I can't say the word, idol worshiping society, there's also the little tenets of it, right? So they have that too, like you'll get my gun when you pry it from my cold dead hands, and the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. These things that are just not true.
No, in fact,
repeated as if they are.
let me take that opportunity to point out in the Kansas City parade shooting, if indeed citizens who may have actually tackled one of the subjects, by the way, there's video allegedly showing that, God bless them. If they had whipped out guns and started shooting it out in that crowd, we'd have 100 people dead. You know, if the police had pulled out guns and started shooting in the crowd, many people dead. So this nonsense. It's very, very rare. It's not that it doesn't happen, but it's very rare that the good guy with the gun actually saves the day in a mass shooting. Incredibly rare.
And we're getting to the point where it's a bad kid with a gun and a good kid with a gun. That's it. To your point, LB. We're getting into that phase. Yeah. Something's got to stop with this. I don't know how we're going to do it, but something's going to stop with it. Okay, we should go to our next topic because
wait, gonna have a hard out with Frank, and we don't want to miss you. So we're going to move into our little 8-minute segment. Thank you for all of that, Frank. Where we talk about this. We had to get you weighing in on the Smirnoff case. We're back in the simulation and the weird names. Of course, we had the Scandalicious. That's his name? Scandalicious?
Scandalicus.
Scandalite. I'm going to call him Scandalicious. You know, it's a Beyonce song. I'm sure it's coming right behind him. But this Smirnoff, I guess he's Russian. I don't know. That was FBI informant and fed false information to the FBI. And now has he been arrested? There's a case against him? Fill us in on this.
Yeah, he's been charged. He's been charged with lying to the FBI. And specifically about his allegations that Hunter Biden and President Joe Biden were involved with unlawful activities with Burisma, the company in Ukraine, which, of course, all of these allegations were absolutely fodder and the core of the Congress's attempt to impeach President Biden. They got on Fox News, waved around interview documents that they demanded from the FBI. And now, while the FBI can never turn over unredacted source reporting, they gave something to them. They had to give something. And now you can really understand the reluctance of the FBI director to turn over reporting that he likely absolutely had been discounted long ago. And, this dilemma of, you're subpoenaing documents from me. You're going to use them for nefarious purposes. And I know this is bullshit. And there's very little that the director could do with that. But now let's see what happens, because what are they going to do in terms of impeaching Biden now if the whole Burisma Ukraine Hunter Joe thing is nonsense?
Yeah, it's almost like don't use the FBI for your personal grievances, or maybe someone's paying him or paid him to go do this, or he thought he would get famous from doing it, or he's some kind of LARPer. Who knows who this guy is? But if the FBI, even if you feel like I'm one of the FBI because I'm their informant, or I gave them tips, or whatever my thing is, maybe don't make up a bunch of garbage.
You get a veneer.
You've got some personal thing going on.
You get that veneer of credibility, respectability. If you say, actually, I'm working with the FBI. I'm actually a source for the FBI, which, by the way, a real, true working source for the FBI doesn't walk around saying I'm a source for the FBI. But yes, I think that. But the real story, you've hit on something, which is what really should fascinate us, and in a real Congress would demand a hearing, is what you just asked, which is why did he do this?
Right.
Was he funded, paid? When did the FBI know it was fake or not? Did they tell behind the scenes? Did they tell the House, don't do this? This is nonsense. That's the story.
Maybe he's a fabulist. We don't know. Maybe he got close or had proximity to something. Maybe he's a Twitter personality, and was watching everybody's research and passing it off as his own. We don't know who this guy is, what's going on with him, but we need to know why. Why did he use his position to advance this
Yes.
garbage.
Totally agree. And by the way, don't be surprised if we hear that whoever handled him at the time in the FBI was told to stand down because the guy's full of it. And you bought it hook, line, and sinker. So stand down. And, don't be surprised if we hear that agent, was so suckered that he ran to Congress and said, I'm being told to stand down. Yeah.
I'll be the first one to believe that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even think it's his real name. I think I think my name is Alexander Smirnov. I have information about Hunter Biden. We found out actually his real name is George Santos, obviously.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wasn't there a Russian comedian named Yakov Smirnov?
There was, yeah.
There
But bowling for soup, right? Isn't that his joke or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
What a great country we have. Great country. We lie to FBI. Great times.
Listen, I made this joke earlier with you guys, but I'll share it with everybody there. We do need a drink. We need a mocktail that actually has alcohol in it because it's all a lie and bullshit. But we need in this man's honor and the FBI's honor. So if anybody has a Smirnoff vodka special recipe, put it in the comments there, and we'll have our.
Well, we can start with the dirty Smirnoff.
The dirty Smirnoff.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That works for me,
I
except
love
for the fact that I don't want to drink Smirnoff. I
know it's terrible. It's
that's-
well vodka. Yeah.
The
it's
people
very-
with money in Russia do not drink Russian vodka, by the way. They drink Polish vodka. That's just what happens.
But
Oh, I didn't know that.
it's potato.
Yeah.
It's
not-
potato.
The water is, it's just made shittily. This is going into the next. How much time do we have left?
You can cross off
minutes.
Smirnoff as a sponsor. I'm just telling you, that's done.
Oh no, that's true.
It's never going to happen. Smirnoff
It's never
vodka,
gonna happen. Damn.
Oh,
That's
well.
all right. We'll take Grey Goose.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. We have less than 2 minutes left. Do you want to roll into the next thing, Frank? Well, we want
We
to
have to
tell
do.
everybody what's going on with you because you have
Yeah.
an announcement. This is our announcement section.
This is our announcements time, is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, got
So-
a couple. Can I do 2 announcements?
You can do as many
Yeah,
announcements
as
you
many as
want.
you want.
So listen, while my publisher is telling me don't tell too much about your new book, I'm going to tease it because it's out and ready for pre-order right now on Amazon and everywhere else you buy books. But
Awesome.
it's called Long Haul: Hunting the Highway Serial Killers. It's a true crime story, but elevated. It's a deep dive into 3 cultures, which are trucking. And I rode over 2,000 miles long haul with a flatbed trucker to
Wow.
research this story. The second culture is sex trafficked women. And the third culture are the female crime analysts who have to put the pieces together before the next killing occurs. What am I talking about? The FBI's Highway Serial Killings Initiative, which has identified over 800 homicides along our nation's highways that are attributed to multiple long-haul trucker serial killers. It needs to be told these women have had no voices, no champion, no advocates. Their cases are put on the bottom of the pile. The FBI has this initiative to try and get all this done. That's the book.
That
I
sounds
love it
great.
so much.
Yeah.
I love
Yep.
this so much.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. And in fact, I actually developed a television series a while back that had a mystical element on a book series called Brotherhood of the Wheel that had characters from the FBI highway unit, specifically, cops that were tracking the monsters. It was a monster movie, basically.
Yeah.
Monster
You know
stuff.
that? Yeah.
But
Announcement.
people don't know about this. So
No, I mean, it's been looked at before, but it's not, no one's told it from the perspective of the victims and from the analysts who work the cases. And really there's compelling stories about how young, mostly women, can fall into trafficking relatively quickly. It's astounding. Second announcement,
yes.
Glenn Kirshner, who many of your listeners know from MSNBC. He and I are hosting a cruise to get the hell out of here in the summer. We're going to need a break. And I've heard so many people say that when they consider their vacation plans, they're like, where do I go where I'm not going to run into, let's say you usually go to Florida beaches. You really, you want to go to the Florida beach where people are Biden t-shirts on and the Trump flags are flying on the pickup trucks. Where do you go where you're around like-minded people, passionate about democracy? We put this together. It's July. It starts in Athens, the cradle of democracy. We'll be at Mykonos. We're going to we're going to Sicily and Capri. We'll end in Barcelona. Really good people come on this cruise. And no, we're not talking about Trump on vacation. We'll have 3 occasions where we'll get together. There'll be fun. There'll be lively discussion. But most of all, we're just going to have some fellowship. If you want more, you can check out my website, frankfigliuzzi.com, or Glenn's social media or my social media. And we'd love to have everybody come along.
I love it. I think we have something to show.
We do have a video. We have a promo video. This is exciting.
This isn't Glenn in a Speedo, is it?
I don't know. You tell
me.
I
don't know. You sent it to us. So what is he?
I think that's all it is. It's 30 seconds of Glenn in a Speedo. This is going to be good.
Oh my.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I'm coming.
And for the record, you didn't even ask us to do that. I demanded video of you.
Yeah. I know.
Just so people know that was me asking you more than once for a video.
You absolutely did. And Glenn and I both, just so you know, Glenn and I both struggled with even doing this because it sounds like, hey.
No, you have to do it. No, it's fantastic.
But,
yeah. I'm all in. I think I'm going to book this because I want to go on. I want to do a trip with my dad. And he would love this. This is perfect.
Yes.
This is White Lotus 3, man. This
is so good. Just because the 2 of you are on there, I don't want to deal with the dead body. So let's keep it. Let's hope that. But we could certainly, it could be White Lotus. It could be White Lotus 2.5. 2.5.
It could be, yeah. I mean, listen, all 3 events are open bar on the cruise that Glenn and I are having. So, who knows what will happen.
The possibilities are endless. We might even have an appearance by Alexander
Smirnoff. Well, definitely
whatever he's calling himself these days.
A dirty cock.
That not to be confused with Alexa Romanoff, who went to the Mar-a-Lago and whose name was something else. And remember that?
Oh, for God's sakes!
Yeah.
They're all secret Rockefellers. Well, remember that? That'll end up happening.
Secret Rockefellers is my band name. Frank, do you have to go, or do you want to?
I do. We've got a big family weekend coming up. I got to go, but it's been a blast, and thank you for bringing serious topics to your viewers in a way that breaks it down in a way that resonates with everybody. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Always great to see you. Come back soon. Bye-bye.
I will. Enjoy the weekend. Take care.
Bye, Frank. I love him so much.
I know he's great.
I love him so much.
He's great.
That
cruise would be awesome. Yeah. I've been watching, as you know, this Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I've got 2 episodes.
Oh, it's so good.
It's really good. I don't know if people
let's save that. Are we going to do after? Are we doing
let's do an after hours because we're
going to do
on
after
time.
hours, everybody. That's our other announcement is we're going to do it after hours. Do you have a link ready? What's happening? Are we organized or are we just saying?
Let me tell you, I have been so things float out of my brain. Like we're doing that Ivanka thing. You're like, okay, we should do the thing. And I'm like, okay. And then you sent me the email with it done. And I totally forgot about it. I just forgot.
I almost forgot too. And clearly we didn't have our beloved Chunk helping us on this because he was working so hard on something that's coming next. So,
but also because we gave it to him like an hour ago.
And we gave it to him an hour ago. We had our shit together. Not really. Okay.
So, yeah. I was going to say.
So we're going to do an after hours. Let's put a link together.
Right. I forgot that. We have our Substack, and I forgot to post the damn show on the Substack. I meant to. Okay. I was going to put 2 things on the Substack. Wait, we're still in announcement.
You need the Magonic. I did the ad. I can't even.
The Magamonic.
Managamama. I can't believe I said that. So
I can't either. I can't either. You didn't
believe I
screw it up
made that
many.
happen.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay. Now,
no,
Chuck
two
needs to
things.
stop. It's so true.
Two quick things.
Yeah.
We have started having clips
yeah.
from the shows.
Yes. If you're subscribers, you should be seeing this coming in from YouTube, like a little alerts on your phone, clips from the show. There's one of my dad.
Yep.
There's one of Greg. So we're
One
up
of
in
you.
our game.
One of you.
It's
One of
you?
Rachel Slade now too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about combat propaganda, man.
Oh, that's right. Combat propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
So we're up in our game a little bit. Like we said, we're going to do, we're just sort of slow because we are old and we're moving as quickly as we can. But I hope you guys are all enjoying that. And it should be that they can share it, Greg. Is it easier to share now?
Yeah. Because now there's some of them are, and I've been trying to put them on, my social media. I'm so bad with this stuff, but I've been trying to put them on Twitter and on Facebook and other places.
Yeah.
So
okay, good. So that's happening.
The first one is just me screaming.
You're just
like, why are we starting with me screaming about Texas? Why we should have started with something a little more calm. But what do you...
It's not Valentine's Day, but I didn't have flowers because we finally had snow here. And so we kind of got snowed in a little bit. I didn't want to go out and get flowers in the car. So so we did miss Valentine's Day with you guys. I hope everybody had a great one this week and got a good gift. So that's it. That's all. I don't have any other announcements. We have our great clips happening. We might be going on this cruise because it looks so, I want to go to Greece. I'm ready. I've been there. I've been through that whole area many, many times. There's nothing like it. Everybody should go. And a trip from Athens to Barcelona is a fantastic cruise. I'm telling you, you see the whole Mediterranean and the Adriatic. It's so beautiful. We're going to do that.
It's going to dump me at Ischia, and I'm just going to not come back on board is the problem. That's right. We went on our honeymoon. Ischia is one of the places, which is the bigger island near Capri, where what's the movie, the Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
where they shot that, where that cool rock is in the middle of the water, and we stayed where Jude Law and stayed when they were making the movie.
Oh, my friend Jude Law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your friend.
He's my friend. yes, in a weird way. Okay, for one
more. Okay, so I'll put the link up shortly after.
Okay, and then I know what I say. So you've got to subscribe, and then you need to join. So joining is what gets you into our after hours and some of the other stuff that we do. We make it a very low bar for you guys to come on and join if you need, because we're not trying to fleece people, but look at what we get to do. We get to have people help us make clips and things. So we definitely, anything that's about being a member, whether it's $1.99 or above, all of that money goes back into the show, and we can continue to kind of have our act together, even if we're only getting stuff together a couple hours before, because we keep forgetting to do all of our little chores. But so
I only wrote down the name Smirnoff and Scandalicus at 7:40.
Scandalicus. I can't.
Scandalicus. I can't even I started laughing when I saw it.
You're saying it wrong. It's scandalicious. I'm telling you. This is
Scandaliful, scandalicious, scandalovely.
Oh, there we go.
In the brain here. Okay, last topic. Last topic.
Let me set the alarm. Da. All right. What? Oh, outer space. Oh, we did want Frank's take on this because he kind of knew what this was about, but couldn't quite say. So just so you know, Frank was saying before, this is the stuff where we've got the even a Republican on the
Mike Turner, who is the chair of the House Intelligence Committee.
House Intelligence. I knew it was the Intelligence Committee. Freaking out about Russia having nuclear warheads into small.
It's a space-based nuke designed to fuck with our satellites in space.
Yeah.
And Russia apparently is further along than we thought. And he wanted to make something public to the whatever.
I mean, listen, you brought this up. We're going to say it. Say it, great.
The Trump thing?
Yes.
Okay. How do we know? Why is this suddenly urgent? Because it wasn't urgent before. How do we know that we don't have this shit and Trump sold it to Saudis and it got to Russia that way? Because here's the thing. I don't buy any of the Russian military stuff. I don't buy that they have this great technology.
No.
They have like nukes from 1945.
No.
I don't think they work at all. You go to Moscow, you look at the bricks on the walls of the buildings, and they're all like lined up like this because they're all drunk making there's nothing going on there. I think their military is shit. I think their technology is shit. I don't believe a word of it. So how are they going to get this stuff? They're going to fucking steal it. That's what they do. Or
That's
pay
what
for it,
they
or
do.
coerce their puppet to give it to them. So
Yeah.
it's a question that needs to be asked. What document did Trump give? And on that topic, is that going to be the thing that breaks the bubble? Like if we really find out that he sold nuclear secrets, I mean, are people still going to support him? Like, is that going to be, are the people on Capitol Hill going to be like, well, I don't know. Like,
Well, remember when he wanted, let's talk about, I think his people are going to be all for it because he's been priming the pump for this since 2015. This is Russia, if you're listening. And then it goes from there. I'm not just talking about his love for Putin. I'm talking about all the ways that they kept trying to either have a back channel to get information back and forth with Putin and the Kremlin. There was something that he did around. Oh, he wasn't gonna like, we want Putin to help us with our cybersecurity. Remember that?
yeah,
Yeah.
team up.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is selling because he was in there to steal shit for this guy. So this is part of the team up plan. We're teaming up.
We're teaming up. This is like an Oppenheimer. Like, should we give the Stalin the nuclear secrets? No fucking way, man.
Yeah.
Except for one guy gave it to him.
Mm.
And here we are.
Fucking
dick. Yeah, it's not good.
It always comes down to one white dude. It's either one white dude fucking us over or one white dude we're all thinking is going to save the day.
I remember what Frank was going to say on this topic, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hear what Frank was not saying any of that.
This is a quick thing, but he said that the only good thing that Trump did in 4 years was the Space Force. He said, even though it's ridiculous and we all made fun of it. I mean, come on. It looks like starch. But we need that. And this is why. Like, there is this thing. There is a treaty that we have with Russia from 1967 called the Outer Space Treaty, which we're not supposed to have nukes in space and all that. I know Vladimir Putin. I mean, I listen to him talk. He's very big into treaties unless he doesn't want to bother with them, in which case he ignores them or omits them from his little fucking bullshit lecture. So I think maybe the Russians are in violation of the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. I don't know. That's what it looks like. It's something to look out for, Are these Russian outer space nuclear weapons going to team up with the Jewish space lasers? That's the thing that we don't know. We're going to have to talk to Marjorie Taylor Greene about that. Ask for her advice. What does she think?
I think these people have been telling us all along what's going on under their covers. They're so focused on Fani Willis, but what's been going on under your covers? What's behind your curtain? Why are you saying things like Jewish space lasers? And why are you putting weird costumes on a space force so that we all mock and laugh and ha, 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 it's not really serious. What are you really doing? Who are you working with? What's going on? What kind of secrets are you all sharing with one another? Who's getting compromised? What's going on with our national security? What's the plan? Because you got a plan. They're certainly well coordinated. And I just think our position has always been, in terms of the folks, and calling it an us, of looking, it's like we see it when we see it, which is way too late. So I appreciate this guy, Turner, Republican, whatever the hell he is, speaking out and saying, oh shit, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think the people need to get into this as being a big deal. Remember Trump saying, why don't we put a nuclear weapon into a hurricane? I know we can fuck with the weather and do with the weather. They're and Elon going to space, everybody wanting to conquer space. They're very, very focused on the atmosphere and beyond. And all these motherfuckers can talk about is some weird thing after the next. And because they're getting all the information, they get the information and then it comes out of their mouth wrong, and we laugh and think it's stupid and shrug it off. But I just think there's some very notorious characters up to no good in our atmosphere. I really do.
I think that when we're all on the Frank and Glenn cruise, they should take a cruise into the sun and just check it out. You know,
Yeah, just
lots
check
of
it out.
energy there. You should go harness it.
Yeah, go
Check
ahead.
it out.
So that's what I'm saying. We need to reverse this somehow. We need to harness this idiocy and conspiracy in a way that has the idiots walking into the sun. That would be good. Something's going on.
It does match Trump's hair, doesn't it? Or his face. I don't know. One or the
Something's
other.
going on.
It's interesting. All right. We have time left. We good. We were good today with the time.
We're
for
giving
us.
time. Yeah, because we had a serious guest, and all of our guests are amazing, and we were like, we got to get it together.
Yeah,
Also, I think we're a little tired, but we will still do an after hours. We're
No,
less
you
than a
know.
minute. Less than
All
a
right, we're good.
minute.
We're good. So I think let me take the banner down. I think that the way to end is just that I want to say that, Notre Dame, they finished the spire. And it's got this golden rooster on top of it, which looks like a weather vane. And I saw a picture of like priests like putting stuff in the rooster, like they're trussing a Thanksgiving turkey or something. I don't understand it, but I feel like the fact that church is now being rebuilt in this way after that horrible tragedy is a good sign. I feel like it's a good omen for this year. That's it.
It's hopeful. It's hopeful that we're going to get through this.
I'm not ready. Say it again.
Hey, Greg.
What?
We're going to get through this.